So that'll bring us to tomorrow. And this is, I really want to get it because this is stuff that you can look at for tomorrow. And we have a little knowledge. So I always like the first Saturday and Sunday of the tournament because you have some knowledge that you can go off of. So let's look at it. Arizona, which looked real good on Thursday against Dayton, they're laying 9.5.
Yeah, Arizona. That sounds about right to me. Arizona did look good, man. They were impressive. And they actually,
but they're weird because they can look so good, and then the next thing you know, you turn around and it's a clunker.
Yeah, I mean they lost to USC like late in the year.
Right.
USC was a very mediocre team.
Yeah,
and they lost. So I think that's kind of the nature of college basketball now, man. With the way these teams build their rosters, that there is some inconsistency built into it. But right now, all you have to go by is the short sample size of Thursday. And they looked really good yesterday.
Yeah.
So, I think that they should be able to handle their business against Dayton.
How about this one? Because I love this game. Gonzaga laying 4.5 to Kansas. I mean, we saw Kansas. Like, they're not good.
They did. You know what the thing is? They did what they had to do offensively. They just couldn't guard. They couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to get Gonzaga. And Kansas is thin. They're shorthanded. What's the line on that game? 4.5. Gonzaga is a 4.5 point favorite as a lower seed.
Yeah, and I would lay it. Wouldn't you?
You lay the 4.5? Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
lay the 4.5.
I would lay it. Dude, I need you to analyze this one. UNC, Carolina, Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State is going to have to make sure that this game is played to their liking in terms of pace, because Carolina can come at you with a lot. They can put up numbers.
I was stunned that and the line is low. Like I'm looking at this game, I'm going, really? Carolina's 3.5.
Held Mississippi State. Michigan State held Mississippi State to 51 points.
I mean, did you expect? We talked about that this was not a vintage Izzo team.
No, but he's
and they can. And I liked Mississippi State, and they played well.
Izzo finds a way, though, man. He finds a way to get the most out of his group, and he can really get guys to understand the focus of just this one moment in front of you. He's really good about that. Not look at the bigger picture, and Carolina, that might be a little bit harder for them.
So you think Michigan State's got a chance to pull this upset?
I'll go with Carolina, but I don't. Yeah, I think that game could resemble a little bit of a slugfest.
Okay. Iowa State is 6.5 against Washington State.
Yeah, I like Iowa State a lot in that game, and they were another team that.
Well, they play good defense.
They play good defense.
They grind you. That's what they do. How about the battle of the double-digit seeds? You got to love an 11 v 14, and this is NC State, Oakland. Your Oakland boys, because Legs is in love. Legs was in love, man.
Oh, man.
He loves himself some shooters.
You give me some shooters and give me a Cinderella story to go with it, sign me up.
Oh, man. So what do you think, man? I'm an NC State guy. I like the way NC State's playing.
I do, too. And listen, this is, this is different level here. ACC coming at Oakland. But now Oakland's got to be feeling pretty good with themselves. They're not getting who they expected. Even if they won that game against Kentucky, they're certainly not getting who they thought they were going to get. They're going to get NC State, who's hot right now. But still, they've lost 14 games this year. Like if you're the head coach of Oakland, you look at that like, okay, listen, this isn't some juggernaut we're going to get, and just play our game and shoot the basketball well. And they've got a chance, man.
All right. So what do you do? You just made 10 threes.
Yeah.
And you made yourself a name.
Right.
How do you now replicate, you're not going to hit 10 threes again, but how do you now come back and follow that up with any kind of an encore?
The analogy I'll use, I don't even remember this happened a few years ago. Furkan Korkmaz was playing for the Sixers, and he had like a 30-point game. He had like a 30-point game for the Sixers, and the very next game, he got shut out. Yeah. And I remember thinking to myself, you broke the shooter's code. See, you can't go off to that extent because now they're talking about you.
Right.
Right? No.
Right.
Go give him a nice 16, 18, 20, man.
Yes.
Now, you have one of those nights, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. You're not going to make the top of the whiteboard in the other locker room if you do that. When you start doing that kind of stuff, and it's funny because he got face guarded the next game. Like nobody left him. And it's
they were on top of him. And
now,
it was crazy.
This guy, but I'm sure with ridiculous percentage of shots that are threes. We went over.
I know.
Right? 95% of his shots are three-pointers, maybe more than that. He's used to it. I'm sure every game he's on the radar. Like, hey, listen, Golke could really shoot it. That's all he's going to do is shoot threes. Like, let's make sure we're connected, stay home, deny him the ball, stay on the high side. Do not chase him around. Like, don't give him space coming off screens. I'm sure he's heard that a million times. So he's been able to adapt and still do his thing despite the fact that teams know that this is your specialty.
Yeah. Interesting. You called it, though. You said, listen, what was the total? Because you wrote it down. It was how many twos did he take?
So right now, as we sit here, 347 of his 355 field goal attempts have been threes.
That's unbelievable. He's taken 8 2-pointers. That's insane.
The entire season. And I want to see all those strung together on a video clip so I can watch. Insane. How did you end up with these twos? Because he felt bad about himself taking 8 twos,
Then Tennessee and Texas.
Yeah.
Tennessee looked good, man.
Tennessee looked really good.
Yeah, St. Peter's, though.
Tennessee's been impressive all year, man.
Yep. Illinois and Duquesne.
That's an interesting one because Illinois, they got tested for quite a while.
Yeah.
They finally put that game away in the second half. And actually, there's a kid on that team. I wrote down some names.
And this is the LeBron team.
I wrote down some names
Duquesne
of some of the
team.
guys that kind of stood out to me. This Marcus Domask for Illinois had a triple-double.
Yeah.
And he made some big threes in that game.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive all-around game. So I want to see what his follow-up performance is. But Illinois got tested for a while in that game before they were able to put it away. So let's see if Duquesne, coming off a surprise win, first win in 50-something years, I believe, in the tournament. Let's see if they can follow it up. So that should be entertaining.
It's a great story, man.
And it's good. It's good for rooting interest because it's A10.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. You look at the A10 schools because we got some A10 schools here.
Yeah.
So you look at that and you say, hey, let's make a run for the A10 schools.
And in the final game tomorrow night I think it's a great one.
Yep.
Creighton and Oregon.
Yep.
Creighton a 5.5-point favorite. Creighton looked pretty good.
You and I talked about it yesterday. We both like Creighton. They look good. They look good. It took them a little while, but they finally.
There was a little first half, normally happens sometimes.
They got it going when they needed to.
So right now, is it just to kind of put a bow on this thing? Is it still UConn and everybody else?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're not going to learn much about UConn today.
Right.
And what is that score now? I'm trying to look. They're probably still 30.
Yeah, it's a
70-38, 10 minutes to go. You're not going to learn much about them other than the fact that they were not about to even remotely be susceptible